Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about the structure of human eye. For with an understanding, we can divide it in two parts. One is what are the walls or layers of the eyeballs and what are the structures present inside. So let's discuss the layer first. Basically, it has three layers: outermost part, protective layer, middle layer, or nutritive part, which provide nutrition, and inner layer of sensory pigmented. But here in this diagram, this total part is outer layer, posterior, sixth part from this portion to this portion to this portion. All these layer is called sclera, which is very tight membrane here in this transparent, and there are 1.6 part is called cornea. So the outermost layer mostly consists of two parts, sclera and cornea, which protects the inner layer let the light comes into the eyeball. Inside the outermost layer, there is a highly vascular layer which brings oxygen and nutrition for the other layers. It is present inside and posterior to the outer part, that's called carotid. Now, the anterior portion of this vascular layer becomes thickened. This thickened part is called ciliary body, and just in the middle of the ciliary body, there is a muscular diaphragm. This is called iris. So the posterior most part of the middle layer is called carotid body, and the anterior triangle-shaped thickened area is called ciliary body, and in the middle of the ciliary body there is muscular diaphragm, which is called iris. Now the most important part is inner layer. Only this layer can convert the electromagnetic energy into electrochemical signals. This layer is called retina. If you enlarge this portion, you will see the retina has two parts, one highly pigmented layer and neural layer. This highly pigmented part is firmly attached with the carotid part. Now, the interesting point you should remember, roots and cones are not present in the pigmented layer. They are actually present in the neural layer. You must be wondering, so why it is hyperpigmented and what's the use of the hyperpigmentation? Well, see, when light comes into your eyeball, it should get absorbed first or shouldn't get reflect, otherwise image will be distorted. As we know, highly pigmented area absorb light better than a white or poorly pigmented area. That's why this inner layer or inner retinal layer is highly pigmented. Let's enlarge this area. Here is sclera, then carotid, and this pigmented layer, and just above the pigmented layer there is neural layer, which contains roots and cones and bipolar cell and etc. So what are roots and cones? There are a special type of transducer. You know what's transducer? Well, it's a special entity which can convert one type of energy to other type of energy. When light falls on the roots and cones get activated and produce action potential. This action potential is electrochemical energy. So roots and cones basically convert the electromagnetic energy into electrochemical energy. This action potential is now transferred to central nervous system for processing, so that we can see an object. Now this pigmented layer covering all the carotid layer and extending forward just behind the ciliary body and then behind the iris. Now finally stop here, it is not going behind this area, so it is actually absent in front of the iris. Now one important point, I thought pigmented layer extend up to the iris, but this narrow layer or roots and cones do not extend up to the ciliary body or iris. Let me draw another diagram. This is sclera and this is cornea. So this portion is corneoscleral junction, and this is the corneal section. Actually, root and cones extreme from backward to forward and aimed somewhere between the middle of these 2 points. What does it mean? Only this portion of retina is sensitive to light, and the portion anterior to this part is not sensitive to light. Here I should mention another important part, which is called lens. Lens, it helps the light pass into the eyeball and focus properly on the retina. Lens has special ligament which are attached with the ciliary body and hold the lens in position. These ligaments or elastic fibers which hold the lens in position are called suspensory ligament or journals. Now behind this lens journals the cavity of eyeball and filled with the jelly-like material which is called vitreous humor, and the filled which falls the anterior compartment just anterior to lens is called a cosimo. So when light is entering into eyeball face, it has to pass through the cornea, then through the echo silver, then through the lens, and then through the vitreous humor, and eventually falls on the retina, which finally convert into action potential and goes to the CNS through the optic nerve. Thanks.